Thank you very much. Great to be here, guys. Thank you for having us, and what amazing presentations from Brad and Kirsty so far. They've set a very high bar, so it's a real privilege to be up on stage following such great presentations. My name's Damon Etherington. I'm the head of enterprise here at FullStory in this region. FullStory is a digital analytics platform. We help you essentially understand the experiences users are having on your websites and your applications and bring that to life so that data and insights can be used across the organisation. I am joined by the wonderful Hans from FlightCentre. Hans is the experience design lead at FlightCentre and has a very colourful career from startups to winning hackathons to now leading the design team in one of the world's largest travel organisations. So Hans, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and good morning, everyone.
I think we're going to kick off with a quick video, if that's teed up with the AV team. I'm seeing some shakes. Maybe there isn't a video. No, all good. We will plough on. Well, nothing like a tech issue to kick off a presentation. Hans, do you want to maybe paint a little bit of colour for the audience to start off with? Tell us a bit about FlightCentre, your operations, the scale, and your customers.
Yeah, for sure. So FlightCentre at this point, especially in the leisure business where FlightCentre is commonly known, FlightCentre brand, currently operates in 5 major countries. So Australia, New Zealand, the UK, South Africa, and Canada. And at this point, we have 413 stores around the world, and majority of them being here in Australia. Now, to paint a little bit of a picture of how we, I guess, transitioned from pre-COVID up until where we are now, tell a bit of a story of the beginnings of how I started there, which is a digital transformation that looked at consolidating a lot of their supply chain systems. And in this way, we were providing one booking engine that consultants would use in the retail stores around the world. And so part of that work looked at making sure all of our supply, the travel products that we sell, came from one single source. And the team that I was in was responsible for shaping the consultant experience, which for us as a business, retail has been a very strong position in the way we deliver travel experiences in the marketplace. So when we look at shaping the travel experience through the systems that we design, we're inadvertently shaping the customer experience as well. And then COVID hit. And that was very turbulent. But in some ways, like that digital transformation work, where we were consolidating all of our supply products around the world, proved to be the thing that got us out of COVID, because it became an enabler to many different experiences we're now working on. So at COVID, we cut our global global cost down to 75%. And it meant that, from a statistical point of view, we're working with 56% less consultants, travel consultants, and seeing a 91% increase in our bookings per FTE per month. So it sort of proved to be not only a cost reduction, but a productivity increase. And then that led us to so that's, us having the systems in place, consolidating all of our global supply chain systems, and now looking to the future with our Omni strategy, which is really thinking about how we enable our customers to be connected with us than ever before, being flexible in engaging through our retail channels and our digital channels, and then us creating a more holistic and seamless experience when it comes to travel at all parts of the journey. And one of the profound things we have in our arsenal is really our global footprint around the world. Now, typically when we think about the customer experience, we possibly end with the sale and support. But we are exploring the extension of when customers are in destination and they still feel connected with us because we have our stores around the world. So we're really trying to now look at how we blend the two the channels together and create this human connection scaled by technology and digital innovation.
Yeah, I can't imagine many businesses that have been disrupted more than a model like FlightCentre, which was so reliant on physical location and travel, obviously. And I guess as you pivoted into more of a digital online experience and thinking about Omni and maintaining that connection with customer, and I know you've worn several hats across the FlightCentre business during your tenure.
Yeah.
How has that helped to shape, I guess, your understanding and the importance of that online digital experience?
Yeah, all right. Story time, backtrack. Start from the beginning. So, as I mentioned, I started with looking at just the global booking engine that our consultants use around the world. And that was really great. We learned a lot around, learning about our consultants and the impacts of their actions and our systems through to the customer experience. And we ran a lot of research, like contextual inquiry interviews around the world. And that was really, in some ways, proved to be quite difficult and time-consuming, but we needed to move fast as well. And it was at that point where FullStory came in and helped us a lot, really. Where, our design team at that program was very small. There was only 3 of us. And as we were rolling out the product, we needed a way to make sure that what we were putting out there was meeting our operational efficiency. The consultant experience was great, thus, making sure that customers we're meeting their expectations and in some ways exceeding it. Because it proved to be quite hard to sense and gain these insights, we jumped on FullStory to say, hey, let's see how our consultants are using the product around the world and then be able to improve the systems as we roll out different countries. So initially, system-focused, one global booking engine. And that, from there, I moved to a division focused on just all the consultant systems, which is consultant commerce. And we looked at not just the booking system, but all the peripherals around it, payment, profiles, CRMs. And it was there where, we're starting to now shape really how consultants operate in their day-to-day. From that role, I moved on to work with the global operations and process team that works closely with the customer experience team. So we would start with one product that everyone used, the systems that consultants use, which in some ways affect a lot of their processes and operations. And then we look at the operations. I was looking at operations and working with the CX leader and the operations team to now start shaping and trying to meet the capabilities that our product teams were developing. I think that's somewhat important to note, is that despite the fact that your product teams are building a lot of capability to enable your organization, you need to adjust your processes and operations to utilize that capability to its fullest potential, right? And a lot of change management is super important to that. And then from there, I moved on to the Omni strategy team, where we're now looking to the future on customer-centric initiatives. One of the I guess bigger highlights there was creating an animation of what the future customer experience looked like through the Omni strategy. And we worked with a great animation studio in Brisbane called Ravel, and we were storyboarding every touch point based on the technology that we were creating and looking at it from the customer's lens. Designing or even thinking about what they would say and how they would react if they experienced these things. And that proved to be a very clear and tangible thing for us to align towards that vision and share, not just with our board, but all the way down to our employees. So I think Brad mentioned in his previous talk that it's very important to have a crystal clear vision of what you're actually designing or creating when it comes to the customer experience. And through all of that, our learning through FullStory and other data analytics platforms gave us the confidence that this is the right path we're heading. So through all the learnings of how consultants are using the product, how customers are using our digital channels, fed down towards us shaping that.
Fantastic. And I love the focus on the employee experience as well, and obviously a theme that we've heard in the last few presentations. You using FullStory not only for the experience your customers are having when they're engaging digitally, but also for you to understand your consultants and how they're operating with the processes and the technologies and the systems that you put in place, and using that to identify opportunities for improvement. We see that across a lot of our customers, but I'm keen for you to maybe paint a picture for the audience here. What was life like before FullStory? How did you gain intelligence about the experience that your customers or your employees had with your systems, and what changed once you brought FullStory into the business?
Right. So prior to FullStory, and actually prior to the consolidation of our supply chain systems, each region that I mentioned earlier somewhat operated in their own way. So we had duplicate effort with duplicate systems. And a lot of our insights either was localized within those regions, so not shared, and we didn't find common patterns across all of the different countries. And the insights were anecdotal, right? The loudest stories was surfaced to the regional leaders and brought to the product teams to prioritize with very little data, and in terms of qualitative and quantitative insights. And so you sometimes had to, it was a trust game. How often do we trust? We had to really trust what they were saying and look at, if we were to look at diving deeper into that, it would take a lot of time. So now, whenever we get those signals, we check FullStory. All right, great. How we validate some of the problems through its frequency. How often is this happening, and where are they happening, right? So because FullStory enables us to get really granular in the way users interact with our product, we're able to create the funnels or watch the replay sessions and slice it by country or by city and go, all right, cool, this is where the noise is happening. We're validating and problematizing these issues. And then we go and understand the context. So because we're able to identify our consultants through FullStory, we go and email them. Hey, we've noticed that you're experiencing these friction points. And we're noticing a trend across these other countries. So let's have a chat so we can understand what you're trying to do, your intentions, the whys, what you're trying to solve, and then get the whole picture of the size of the problem, frequency, and then the friction, how bad is it really? So we start to map our problems through this 2x2 friction and frequency map and prioritize the efforts through there.
Amazing. I know through working with you for the past couple of years, the thing I've heard from a lot of your teams is that pivot from trying to understand the what is going wrong on our website, and the arguments or the colourful discussions you'd have internally about where there should be focus, to the why. You can agree there's a common language in the data and the insights that you can now agree on. You can identify those problems, and you can now focus on what should we be doing, what action should we be taking based on that data and insight.
Yeah, that's actually profound. You mentioned that. I've worked in product teams before where they lacked the data intelligence, and the conversations around solving a problem became, okay, so what is it, where? These days we're a lot more efficient in going, all right, great, and now we understand the problem. we understand the frequency, its friction, and its impact to our business. Let's talk solutions and validate and test. Because now we have the confidence in the visibility of the things that we put out. We sense and respond quickly. And sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes we don't, but we can see it. And it's better than putting something out there and then not knowing like what will happen. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's the power of bringing together quantitative and qualitative data, right? Being able to quantify that we can see there's a problem, and then get a qualitative lens of what did that experience look like for the customers. And FullStory Session Replay gives you that ability to see the actual, experience that a user had when they were frustrated, hitting that friction, experiencing a performance issue, a bug that was in your website or your application. So making everyone understand it, bringing the empathy back to data and analytics, which I think can often be missing in static dashboards and other solutions. So.
Yeah, and the beauty about that really is like, you may define something that you think happens, right? And you hone in on those touch points and try to surface it through your data. But what we also found that we got was finding things that we weren't looking at, like the unknown unknowns. As we're going through some of the session replays and looking at the data of the interactions, we also find that they're doing this thing. So that leads us to question, okay, why is that happening when this is happening? Could there be a correlation? All right, let's go and talk to these people that often do these behaviors and get to understanding why.
It's a great point. Overcoming the biases that we have. What should we be measuring? These are the things that we think are important, and we ignore everything else that the customers experience when they're on our websites or our applications. Mm-hmm. So you have these massive blind spots unless you have the ability to look at those unknown unknowns and identify whether they're having an impact on your experience. I know you've got a ton of stories about where you've used FullStory to make an impact, but I'd love to hear about what are some of the frustrations or frictions that you've uncovered sort of throughout the journey. Are there any stories or anecdotes you could share?
I think there was one, I guess, and it's not my personal experience, but something that some of our teams were experiencing that I guess, FullStory was able to help out with. So predominantly when we started adopting FullStory to understand how our products were being used, it was mainly the product teams and the technology performance teams that were monitoring the data. And I have a really good friend in the system support team. So the team that basically looks to support consultants when it comes to using our systems. She was very frustrated that they were getting these tickets and, the description of how the issues came about was, very sparse, and there wasn't a lot of information of how they got there. And I was like, maybe you should use FullStory to look at what they've done so that you can see exactly where the issues lie and then resolve that for our consultants. And with that seed, she started looking at it, and from there she's like, all right, this is absolutely amazing. We're more efficient with identifying issues. We're not having to, communicate back and forth through tickets or emails. Now we're going to adopt it to our team so that we can resolve things quicker. So that was probably one of the things that I guess helped in terms of challenges.
I think it's a really common theme of breaking down data silos. I've spent most of my career in data and analytics and helping large brands to proliferate insights and help teams be more data driven. And it's often that data is inaccessible to the organization. It's not a lack of data. It's not that the insights don't exist. It's that there is a lack of enablement of helping or connecting teams with the right data sets. Mm-hmm. And I think you brought up a really nice one, which is customer support. If someone is complaining or raising a customer is raising a ticket to say, hey, this isn't working, I need some help, ensuring that the experts in the organization have the full context of that experience and what has gone wrong and can respond accordingly. Mm-hmm. Using something like FullStory with Session Replay I think is really powerful. We've certainly seen the same thing on the large end of the enterprise space with voice of customer feedback as well. I think we all know that NPS and voice of customer feedback has become hugely important. And when customers are giving feedback that can, to your point, be quite vague. There was a problem, we've gotten a negative score, but we don't really know how to react because we don't have that full story, pardon the pun. So having that ability to press play and see exactly what that user experienced, understand the root cause of that and take action accordingly, I think is really powerful. I'm keen to hear about, I guess, the impact, the tangible benefits that Flight Centre may have realised from using FullStory over the last couple of years. Can you share a little?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as I mentioned, like FullStory is adopted in our global booking engines used across all of our retail stores around the world. The business, I probably touched on this earlier. So with 56% less consultants now compared to pre-COVID, we're doing 91% of bookings per FTE per month. Now, when it comes to our product in particular, what we're seeing in FullStory is that our consultants are more efficient when it comes to creating quotes, 44% more efficient. And there was a specific feature we had in our booking systems called MPI. And early on, that caused a lot of friction and took a long time for consultants to use. And it was probably one of the most used features we had in the product. Since then, we're seeing like their time reduced from 20 minutes to 6.5 minutes whenever that feature is used now. And as you may know, travel is constantly changing. It's very different now to what it was before. And so with the flexibility of flights and changes and cancellations, customers are now have the confidence to quickly change their destination, change up their mind whatsoever. That meant that our system needed to make amendments successfully. And we've seen a 65% improvement in amendment changes. And that's great because now we're somewhat through the features that we're enabling our consultants to have access to, we can really pinpoint down to how they're behaving and their interactions and start tracking that and making improvements on that. So,
fantastic. And I guess, what would be your top 3 pieces of advice for other brands that are on their journey, but perhaps a little earlier? Are there any nuggets of advice that you've learned along the way that you could share?
Yeah, for sure. So number 1, I think one of the most important things to establish is getting alignment across all levels of the business when it comes to working towards those business goals, right? I think sometimes we have product goals that we want to reach, but we're not seeing the business outcomes based on those product goals and those product metrics. So when you have like a clearly aligned efforts and initiatives that tie to your business strategy, you're now able to drive that data-informed culture with the tools that you have and with the practices that you employ. So number 1, like clarity on your business goals, OKRs, and your product, metrics. Number 2 would probably be approach it in a cross-functional way. So if you're starting off and trying to start your digital analytics intelligence journey, it doesn't just sit with one division. Like, customer experience is everyone's responsibility, right? Everyone plays a part in driving and delivering a great experience through the business that you operate in. And so for us, although it started with the design team wanting to gain insights and understand how we can improve our product over time, a solution architect came on board, and as someone that was a a great advocate for customer centricity. I showed them, hey, listen, if we're really going to improve our product over time as we roll out our systems, we need this embedded in all of our infrastructure. Saw that, got on board, presented a solution to the solution architecture board, which raised the eyebrows of our CTO and eventually our data and security team. While he was doing that, I was talking to our product managers and our program managers to go, hey guys, if you really want to improve and look at a cadence of continuous improvement with our products as we roll out, this needs to happen so that we can prioritize our efforts effectively. And we're not causing, wasted effort, and we're all aligned towards driving value. We can be efficient and pinpoint exactly where the issues lie across the different countries. So, start with having a team or looking at multiple disciplines to drive this adoption. And probably lastly is create a learning and knowledge sharing culture when it comes to something like this, right? At the start, I was the only one messing around and configuring all the FullStory funnels and dashboards for the one product. And then I started showing and teaching other people, and then they taught other people. And now FullStory is adopted in both our retail systems and our digital systems, and is heavily utilized by the global, operations and process team. And we're now exploring how we could align what we're seeing with our business OKRs and our business strategy in Omni. And so knowledge sharing and creating a learning culture is akin to the network effects of social media, right? Social media network effects is powerful. It spreads like wildfire. Same with knowledge sharing and learning and the adoption of a system and a culture you want to drive. Gatekeeping that information ain't cool. And you're not gonna see the outcomes you hope to achieve, especially when you're transforming a big ship.
I love that. I think lighting that fire in the organization so that everyone feels not only supported, but they have the tools at their fingertips and excited about sharing what they've found out about the customer experience or where there's opportunity for improvement. We've seen a lot of our customers now have sort of FullStory popcorn days where they're sharing interesting anecdotes of experiences that customers have had and then having a robust discussion. So it's awesome to hear that. I know we're pretty short on time and I'm getting the wind-up messages from the back. I always love learning a bit more about the personal side. I think you've shared some really great stuff from a FlightCentre and the journey you've been on, but I'm keen on some quick Hans facts before we quickly wrap up and open up to questions. If you weren't leading the experience design team at FlightCentre, what would you be doing?
I'd be depressed. To be honest, I think I found
living the dream.
I found my ikigai when it comes to working on designing products, shaping experiences. I think most people may think that design is a practice, but it's also a way of life. So I'm pretty content.
Amazing, mate. That's I'm envious. And if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Okay, number 1, it'll be Virgil Abloh. He's probably my favorite designer of all time. Transcends different practices and different mediums when it comes to design. So that'll be my top dinner date. Second would be Kobe Bryant. I think his transition from being a competitive athlete to exploring storytelling and diving deep into the importance of the impact he wants to create with storytelling was really powerful. And he's also a really cool girl dad. So I'm a girl dad too, and I'd love to learn from how he develops that aspect of his life. Number 3, this was a hard one. So not many people may know, but the fire piston was invented in the Philippines, which I'm from. And I wanted to probably ask the dude, hey, how did you come up with this in, ancient Philippines? Because it transformed how we live, from the fire piston to our engines and etc. So I would have dinner with those 3. Amazing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Hans, and sharing about yourself and about the Flight Centre journey. It's been enlightening and really appreciate it. And thank you for everyone for listening. If there are any questions, happy to open it up to the room. Otherwise, the FullStory team is here and we'd love to have a chat with you over the course of today. So thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Thanks, everyone.